We get asked about this a lot, and so we decided to kind of there's been some questions about this. So someone's asking why is your arm the best solution for my car? And this is related to our Dogbone arm products. Now we have a whole line of these products. Um, the Dogbone started in the Mark IV era Volkswagen car. Mark III's did not have a Dogbone. But starting in the Mark IV era, Volkswagen Audi on all the transverse mounted motors, they went to a motor mount on each side of the transmission. So now you have a motor and transmission that are mounted and have stability from left to right.
Yeah,
And
it holds
it's up and down.
it holds the motor in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But these two mounts, what they cannot do is prevent the motor from twisting. And so Volkswagen Audi added a Dogbone mount. And so this is the basic architecture format. If you have one of these cars, I'm sure you know about this.
Well,
We'll
and
just
yeah,
talk about it for 2 seconds.
it may also be referred to as a pendulum mount.
Pendulum mounts.
Depending on
Yeah.
kind of geographic and what the normals are.
Yeah, it's called a pendulum mount because it prevents the motor from penduluming. Otherwise, the motor would just do this. So these bushings here press into the subframe, and then this bolts to the bottom of the motor transmission assembly. And because this is rigid and because this is mounted with compliance, the motor now can twist and torque and not start spinning around, like a pendulum. The factory ones are pretty soft and squishy. They allow quite a bit of fore-aft movement. And so if you've ever had your car in a dyno with stock motor mounts, you've probably seen amazing, crazy bouncing back and forth of the motor and transmission assembly. That fore-aft movement is being facilitated by a lot of play, a lot of slop in this Dogbone pendulum mount assembly. So what tuning companies started doing is they started stiffening up these bushings. And there's another issue where with the factory parts, if you do a real hard launch, this piece is cast aluminum from the factory in earlier models. The MQB era went to a stamped steel assembly, but the earlier cast versions in the Mark IV, Mark V, Mark VI are well known for breaking. So companies like us offer solid billet aluminum upgrades. We offer a solid billet arm for the MQB to replace the stamped steel piece. The stamped steel pieces generally don't break or have those types of issues. I've seen them bend. But what we do is the stamped steel piece has a rubber bushing on one side where it connects to where it pivots on the motor. And we replace that with a solid spherical. So you've now eliminated a major point of slop there. So I mentioned that a lot of tuners, I'm just riffing with this. This is a prepared presentation or anything, but if you have any questions, feel free to chime in. Sean, let me know if anyone has follow-ups. But I mentioned that tuners stiffen up these rubber bushings. So one thing that became popular is sticking a poly insert inside the voids of these Dogbone pucks, as they're often referred to. What sticking something in that void does is it naturally makes the motor stiff, the mount stiffer. The poly, though, the problem is polyurethane's not the best product in an automotive environment. It can tend to break down. And if you've ever run one of these polyurethane inserts, you've probably seen it get hard, crumble, break. A lot of our customers talk about having to pick out the pieces that are stuck in there because it just the poly insert no longer comes out. So after seeing that and being aware of that issue, we came to market before anyone. We really innovated this product, and it's a billet aluminum insert that goes in and fills the voids. It fills the voids on the front and the back of the mount.
Yeah, I think you can see it on this one pretty well.
Yeah, that's the cutaway. But it goes in the bottom of the mount, and it fills those voids so that the gaps in this lower mount are filled. Okay, so that immediately reduces the amount of movement in this mount with very little NVH or any kind of issues or compromises. We were the first to do that. APR copied us about a year after that, and now there's all kinds of knockoffs on the market and stuff. But one issue that arose once we did that, the force on this Dogbone is supposed to be exactly in line with this mount. and this is our mounts with our inserts. I can't flex this at all; it's stiff. But normally there's a pulling and pushing force in and out on this. That's direct in line with the pendulum. But what happened is once we filled the voids in the bottom of the mount reliably with our aluminum insert, this straight pulling force turned into a vector. And so this, and we have videos of this on the product page if you guys want to see it, and I think on our YouTube channel. But it started creating an angular force on this assembly, where instead of the forces being like this, they moved like this. So what would happen is the entire mount would flex at an angle on the Dogbone insert, and the inserts would bend. The inserts are straight and perpendicular, and as long as the forces are straight and perpendicular on this mount, then there's no bending force. But by only filling the bottom, we introduced a bending force unwittingly, unknowingly, and nobody else in the industry knew this either, because APR again copied our product and released it, and they were having the same problem with their stainless steel inserts were bending as well. So we looked into the problem. We obviously had a lot of customers complain. Initially, we thought that the inserts were too thin, and so we made them thicker. We had several revisions. We gave a bunch, anyone who's ever had a problem with this, we gave them a new updated version. But our engineering team finally determined after looking at some videos of this mount functioning with the insert that there was this bending force all of a sudden, and it was because we weren't filling the void in the top as well. So the bottom was no longer flexing, but the top was, and so that created that angular force. So we released quite a while ago our upper insert, and this was an innovation that we're very proud of. It's not rocket science once you really look into it, although we missed it and so did everyone else. And we now sell our lower insert with our upper insert together as a kit, and they need to be run together. If you run them together, there's no longer any bending forces. Everything works just as it should. We have, again, video on this on our website. And it's a really nice functioning setup with minimal NVH and much better engine and transmission movement and control. Unfortunately, there is this perception out there, and it's true, going back like 5 years ago, that our inserts bend. So our inserts used to bend, so did everyone else's. But once this upper insert was installed, there's no more bending. Any insert on Earth would have bent, and I don't care if you made it out of like tungsten carbide, it would break. Yep. But there was a massive bending force, like up to 45 degrees on this mount, and so it's going to destroy anything that you put in that gap.
Yeah, and it was also with that basically you turned this into a pivot point where this puck was fixed, this puck wasn't, so the whole thing just wants to twist here.
It turns into a hinge.
And it would start bending these arms depending on what generation mount you had. So it was both the arm and the mount were getting impacted by this twisting.
That's right. There should only be a pulling and pushing force on this, but there was now a shear force being created by this angular momentum, and it would break the mounts as well. Since we fixed this, and since we implemented the upper insert, these have been installed on 8-second RS3s and just about anything you can imagine.
Yep.
We sell a lot of these products. These are our top selling products. Our pendulum mount, our inserts, are some of our like core products that keep this place open and running. And we're really proud of the product line that we have. There are some knockoffs out there. The funny part is we've actually had companies knock off our older versions that we've improved on since, and we can see that. But if you want the best, most current, highest quality, most engineered product on the market, that's what we sell and that's what we offer. We sell them for very fair, reasonable prices. We don't price gouge, but yeah, if some Alibaba somewhere or another gets a hold of one of ours and they can knock it off, and they have no customer support, they have no engineering, they have no idea what they're even selling other than they know if they put the right words on Alibaba that you'll end up there if you do a search. If you want to give your support to those kind of companies, best of luck to you. We're not here to serve you. We are here to serve the customers in the market who are passionate about high quality products, who appreciate engineering, innovation, who appreciate having people behind the products who literally lose sleep at night over this if it's not corrected. And I'll be honest, we had some stressful moments over these products in the past. They haven't been stressful in years.
Nope, they've been good now.
But I definitely lost some sleep over this in the past, and we don't like letting down our customers. We never do. So let's see. There were some other questions. These are very modular products, so you can buy just the Dogbone pendulum arm by itself. You can buy just the pucks by themselves. You can buy the inserts by themselves. So you can upgrade these in stages. There are some competitors out there that you basically cut out the factory pucks and put in poly there. We didn't go that direction because the factory solution is actually really nice. Rubber is the right material for these mounts. And so by using our highly and carefully engineered inserts, we can really fine tune and tailor the performance of these mounts without forcing the customer to go in there and like cut out their factory mounts and do all that. If you do want something stiffer than what the factory mount offers, then we went for just the pucks by themselves, and these press in just like factory mounts. These take our inserts as well, so you can double up. So the fastest, most powerful cars that need the most support are running our upgraded density pucks, both inserts, and the pendulum arm. And then you combine that with our motorsport mounts, like we have for the MQB, for the Daza, for
basically
going back to Mark IV.
These mounts, yeah.
Anything that uses this, we have a motorsport equivalent. You are looking at the ultimate motor mounting and drivetrain mounting solution on the market. No one comes close.
That would be like 2 liter and up.
Yeah,
the littler motors have different motor mounts, but
and we offer the complete package. You don't have to like buy the Dogbone from one person and the mounts from another and whatever. So when we have these parts on race cars, they're on all of our development cars. We sell many thousands a year of these parts. So these are very well tested, proven, and highly utilized and used products on the market. And that's always been our goal, is to bring that level of quality to the market. Metal, someone was asking, does metal cause excess vibrations? The metal itself does not cause excess vibrations. The only way that this metal insert can cause excess vibrations is if for some reason the hard part on the inside touches the hard part on the outside. And then you have a short circuit of vibrations that travel through that. But as long as the insert is correctly designed, there is no additional vibration. I suspect that some of these poorly designed knockoffs, they're short-circuiting different parts of the mounts, and that's where some of these NVH complaints.
And we have seen some install issues where if the mount's not installed correctly and doesn't socket down into the gaps correctly, that can put it into a binding situation as well.
Yeah, it has to be installed correctly.
It's got to be installed correctly, and your mount has to be centered when you install it, because it's going to fill up the gap on both sides. If your mount has aged and is relaxed one way or the other, there's some load on it that can be tricky to get it installed correctly.